don't know. We're going to roll that video whenever Taco rolls the
I'm rolling
video.
right now.
What?
I just started it.
3 minutes early.
Okay. So that video is how long? Is the audio? Good evening, and thank you so much for tuning in to the first ever live streaming open house for RVR. This is awesome. We've already got several viewers, and it's just great. If you're watching, you probably have many questions about RVR. I don't know what your experience with us is, but hopefully we will answer all those questions by the end of tonight. Let's look at the page that you're on right now real quick. You may be on rivervalleyranch.com/open house. If you are, we've designed this page to walk you through the process all the way to registration. So you can tour the buildings. There's a virtual tour that you can go through each building on the property. You can also view the activities that your camper would experience at RVR. And also you can ask questions on that from this page. You have to click the orange stripe, though, if you want to ask a question. Tonight, we're going to have a question and answer time a little bit later, and you'll be able to ask those questions. However, again, you can't do that from the River Valley Ranch page. You have to click the orange button, go to YouTube page to be able to ask those questions. And then as you walk on down the page, of course, it gets you to the registration process. Before April 1st, we still have an early bird going on, and hopefully by the end of tonight, we'll help you make that decision to choose RVR this summer. Also, later on tonight, what would an open house be without a great giveaway, right? You got to have a giveaway. Elijah coming out here, we have an RVR sweatshirt that we'll be giving away. Check this thing out. Oh, man, it feels so comfy. Somebody's going to win this. We'll send it out to you. It's a $42 sweatshirt, right?
Yeah.
Boom. We're going to give it away tonight. We have a question coming up a little bit later. So you have to stay tuned to be able to win that sweatshirt. Let me introduce who's with us tonight. First off, we've got our Executive Director, John Bissett, is here tonight to answer some of your questions, as well as our Director of Programming, John Ziegenfuss. He's here. They'll be with us during the question and answer time a little bit later, and they're also going to walk us through why choose RVR. We also have Jen Marjoram is here. She is a parent, just like you are, of campers that come to RVR, so you're going to see her perspective a little bit later tonight. Let me walk you through very briefly what you can look forward to tonight. First, we're going to talk about why camp. You may get educated a little bit tonight, and that's a good thing. You know, there's a lot of choices, things you can do this summer, and camp is so valuable. And we want to make a case for camp briefly before we make a case for RVR, okay? Why RVR is going to come after that. And we, like I said, we want to give you 10 reasons why we think choosing RVR is a great idea this summer. And I mentioned Jen being here, answering some questions and also giving a parent testimonial. That'll come up a little bit later. And then lastly, we'll have that question and answer time when you can type your question in. Hopefully we'll answer all those questions as the night rolls on, but feel free to type those questions in. Again, you have to be on the YouTube page to do that. If you're just joining us, you can click the orange bar underneath the video. It'll take you to YouTube. So let's start off with why camp. John Bissett.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, camp for a lot of people is a lot of different things, but for us, it is not just about entertaining. Camp is really there's a purpose behind it. We really want to do something with it, educate kids, have kids really be impacted. And I love this quote by Frederick Douglass. He says, "It's easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." And that really speaks to the mission of what RVR is about. We want to invest in the next generation so that they can continue leading our society and making a difference in our world long after we're gone. So that's really what we're about, is coming alongside you as parents and investing in your kids. So I want to share briefly our mission, what we're about at RVR. And it says this: RVR cultivates an environment where guests may grow towards their full God-given potential. And so really we see all kids having this God-given potential that has not yet been reached. And we want to create this environment at camp that can really help kids to grow to reach that full God-given potential. And we've actually come up with what we call an RVR cultivation formula. It's our secret sauce. Okay, you ready to see this? Here we go. UCE plus QCS equals MLI. You remember that from math class, right? You don't know what that means? Okay, well, that's because we invented it. All right, so here's what it means. MLI is meaningful life impact. We want your kids to leave impacted in some way. And how do we do that? We use what we call unique, challenging experiences. And you'll hear more about those later, things that we have that really push and challenge your kids in fun ways. And secondly, we invest heavily in getting the best staff, which we'll also talk about in just a minute. So let's jump right in now to the top 10 reasons why to choose RVR. And I think this section will answer a lot of your questions. And like Dan said, if you have other questions, make sure you click that orange banner just below the YouTube page here, or just below the screen, and it'll take you to YouTube, and the chat window's on your right. You can start asking those questions right now. So I'm going to turn it over to Dan for the number 10 reason why to choose RVR.
Awesome. Number 10, drum roll, right? Quality caring staff. This is huge, right? As a parent, you want to be sure that when you drop your camper off at RVR, that they're going to be well cared for. And we can truly say that they will be, because we put a lot of time into recruiting. Recruiting staff is a year-long endeavor. There's not a recruiting season. All year long, we're looking for quality staff. We travel to 12 or some years more colleges where we will interview staff. We will do reference checks with them. We also do background checks for them. We meet and exceed the ACA standards for the ratio of staff to campers, as well as the screening that takes place. So we really take this seriously. You got to remember, too, that the staff at RVR who do the hiring have kids that come to RVR. So when we're hiring a staff member, we've got our own kids in mind, too. And this is a huge thing for us. We want quality. We want the cream of the crop, the best of the best. Now, when they make it to RVR, the staff, we do a week-long training with our counselors. They'd go through a 45-hour training right there on the site. Our leadership staff goes through 80 hours of that training. So this is, once again, a big deal to us. Last year, we had 450 people apply online, and we only hired 130, speaking to the quality of staff that we are looking for. A big question in parents' mind is, what about supervision? What is the RVR staff to camper ratio? And again, we meet and exceed the ACA standards at all of our camps. Day camp, our youngest camp, it's a one staff member to 6 campers. Arrowhead Woods is the same. Arrowhead Woods is 7 to 9-year-olds, and it's a 1-to-6 ratio. Fort Roller, 9 to 12-year-olds, 1-to-7 ratio. And then Frontier Town has a 1-to-8 ratio in staff. So that's number 10 reason that RVR is a great choice this summer, is because of the quality staff. If you have further questions, make sure you chat about that, and we'll get your answers to you shortly. John?
All right, we're going to jump into number 9, safety. We know as a parent, I'm a parent, I send my kids to camp. Safety is a concern. We want kids to have fun, but we also want to make sure that they're safe. And that really starts with what we call general safety. And these are things that we try to do to ensure proper communication among all of our staff to ensure everybody's on the same page. And so these are some of the things that we do to make that happen. We have an extensive text alert system where we can alert not only our staff, but also parents to any situation we want them to know immediately. We also have several PA systems on site, up at Fort Roller and also down at Frontier Town to communicate messaging. We also have an extensive radio communication system and probably 60 or 70 radios that we use to communicate information around. We also have installed security cameras, just once again for another added layer of safety. And finally, we have 24-hour monitoring and accessibility. If you need to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of us 24 hours a day for whatever concerns that you may have. So that's the first part we call general safety. Next is what we call activity safety. We have all kinds of awesome activities, which you're going to hear about in a minute. But these activities are all inspected and they're all monitored. And I'm going to show you, these are just a couple of the organizations that monitor the safety of our activities in the camp. The first, as Dan mentioned, is ACA. That's the American Camping Association. They are the leading camp organization in the country that accredits camps. They have incredible standards that you have to follow in order to be accredited, and we are an officially accredited ACA camp. You can look that up on the internet if you want to know more about ACA to see the standards that we abide by. Of course, we have first aid and CPR. We train our staff on those. Lifeguards, first aid, lifeguard training. The Certified Horsemanship Association, our horse instructors are certified there. ACCT is the organization that certifies all of our ropes courses and zip lines. They're inspected every year to ensure their safety. And then, of course, the state of Maryland inspects us as well, and they come out every year and look through it just to make sure that we're safe. So all the activities and things that we do are indeed looked over, not just by us, but by an outside agency. Thirdly, here we call it emotional safety. Now, we know we want campers to have a good time and to be changed. And in order to make that happen, we've come up with this form here. We call this our daily camper report. Every counselor fills one of these reports out every single day about every single camper that they have. So as you can see, there's 5 different columns here. How are they doing socially? And they grade the camper each day. How are they doing spiritually, physically, overall? And then any comments there. And this gets submitted, and the program directors review this every day so they can actually look on here and see how each camper's doing and maybe catch a kid that has fallen through the cracks a little bit. So we're really committed to ensuring that the campers have a great experience and that emotional and spiritual safety is of high priority. And finally, weather safety. Summer's a great time to be outside, but we all know around here there's storms and different things that come through, and we have a pretty extensive system in place to ensure that we're monitoring the weather. And to show you those, here's a few of the things. We have a dedicated weather computer in our office that's constantly looking at live weather maps to monitor the weather. We have NOAA weather radios that if there's any alerts that go out, we get them the instant NOAA puts them out. Thirdly, we have an on-site lightning detection system to tell us if there's lightning in the area. And the last 3 here, I've already mentioned the text alert system, the PA, and the handheld radios are a way to get the information out to our staff. And we do drills and different things to practice this, so we feel your kids are in really good hands as it relates to this. So that's number 9. Number 8, moving on here, is that time tested. We have been here since 1952. That's a long time. It's longer than I've been around. But RVR was founded by Peter and John Bissett, pictured here, and John Bissett was my grandfather, so I'm the 3rd generation involved at RVR. So we've had a long history of ministering to kids. In fact, we've had over 100,000 campers come through RVR over the years. So we have a lot of experience doing what we do, but we want to remain relevant. Our programs are committed to speaking to today. We're not just cowboy camp anymore. We do things that are relevant, but we've been around a while, and we hope you find comfort in that. We're going to move on to number 7. I'm going to turn it back over to John Ziegenfuss, and he's going to talk about our awesome facilities. Number 7.
Well, thanks for that intro. You took away my drum roll opportunity to say, and the number 7 reason you should send your kid to camp is our awesome facility. So we're only 45 minutes from Baltimore, about an hour and a half from D.C., but we're really nestled in a unique situation in Carroll County. We have 500 plus acres that River Valley Ranch owns to spread out the activities, spread out our buildings, spread out our campuses. If you've never been to River Valley Ranch, you can click on our virtual tour, on our link there that can walk you through all the details. But it's really basically broken down into 3 separate campuses. We really want to separate the kids by their age so they feel a little bit more comfortable, can establish rapport with their counselors a little bit easy, and of course do age-appropriate activities, which I'll mention in a second. But we have 3 campuses. It's our Arrowhead Woods campus, which is for our younger kids. They get to sleep in real authentic teepees well, not necessarily authentic because they do have some modern day conveniences as well. So Arrowhead Woods is for campers ages 7 to 9. Then we have Fort Roller for ages 9 to 12, and Frontier Town 12 to 17. So if you do our virtual tour, you'll take a look at it. We do have rustic looking facilities. We want to be authentic and period correct, but we also have some modern day conveniences as well, air conditioning, all those things, running water. So going on, talking about those awesome facilities, we just completed phase 1 of our RVR 2.0. We're really trying to renovate and bring some of the aging facilities up to speed. And here's a great picture here of what our gymnasium used to look like before the renovation. And here it is now. So even on rainy days, inclement weather, storm watches, our kids have a great place to go and play. Here's a picture of one of our buildings here. This is the building called Delivery. It's in Frontier Town. Many of our campers and staff stay there. And this is what it looks like remodeled. So, man, I think we got great facilities. Your kids will be comfortable at RVR. Now, moving on to number 6 is we get a lot of comments, and I think we have a comment right now on our YouTube channel, if you look down there, a question about the quality of our food. So River Valley Ranch actually serves real food. One of the things we take great pride in at RVR is that we don't have traditional camp food. So one of the things we do is we do some scratch cooking. Not everything's by scratch, but we try to use whole foods and whole ingredients into there, so your kids are eating healthy while they're even away from home. And I think one of the questions that just popped up was, I went to Fort Roller last year, and I'll be going on to Frontier Town. Is the food just as awesome? Yes, it will be awesome. Maybe even a little bit better down there as they're serving kids that have a more developed taste for food. Also, our dining experience is very unique as well. If you look at our culture today, the most popular place to eat breakfast in America is inside of your car, and the most popular place to eat dinner in America is in front of the TV and on the couch. So we want to have a dining experience where kids can actually sit around a dinner table and have conversations and talk about real things. What did today mean to you? What was your highlight? What was your what was something you that challenged you that you overcame? Did you meet a new friend? And so that's what we do around the dining experience, is not just have great food, we also have great conversation. The number 5 reason to choose RVR is we have some unique experiences, some great activities, and I think they're top notch. We have paintball fields for kids that are into paintball. We've got adventure elements like our zip line, our high ropes course, over 60 horses on the property. So we've got some great experiences there, some top notch activities. But they are also age appropriate. So for kids that want to push themselves and challenge themselves, that have a little bit more experience riding the horses, they'll go out on trail rides. For kids, it's their first time, they're a little bit younger, they'll take pony rides. For people that aren't afraid of heights and a little bit older and a little bit stronger, they'll be able to climb our high ropes course. For ones that are a little younger, they can use our low ropes course. But all of our activities, whether it's a high course, a low course, a horseback ride, a trail ride, they're all activities with a higher purpose. So we don't want kids to just be comfortable. We want to push and challenge them. So when they're up on the zip line and they step off the platform, they feel like they conquered a fear, they overcame something, their self-esteem has been boosted. And that higher purpose allows us to speak truth in their life later on when we talk about them, not just challenge themselves in the zip line, but challenge themselves in life. And of course, I think all of our activities are fun, and our staff make them the most fun they could be.
All right, we're going to move on to number 4. But before we do, I want to remind you, I know we've had a bunch of people join in the last few minutes. I want to make sure you understand kind of how it's going to be. We have about 10 more minutes left of our presentation. And then we're going to have a time for your questions. So if you would like to ask a question, you want to make sure you click that orange banner that's right below the screen here, and it will take you to our YouTube page where you'll be able to watch it there as well. And just on the right-hand side of that YouTube page, there's a chat window. You can start typing in your questions right now. We're going to be collecting those and answering those questions at the end. And also, we're giving away a sweatshirt, an RVR sweatshirt. So be sure to stay till the end, and we'll be there in a few minutes. So let's go back to our top 10 reasons to choose RVR. Number 4, we are Christian and inclusive. So if you haven't figured it out by now, RVR is a Christian camp. We are focused on the scriptures and on communicating the good news that God loves you and sent his son Jesus Christ to die for you and to have a relationship with you, and he can transform your life. That is the core of our message that we communicate at RVR. But I also want to mention that we are inclusive as well, which means you don't have to be a Christian to attend RVR. You don't have to abide by the message that we're saying. We do share it with kids. We do give them an opportunity to make a commitment, but we don't coerce. We don't manipulate. We give them the freedom to make that choice on their own, and I think most parents really appreciate that. Whether they follow the Christian faith or not, they appreciate the values that are taught at RVR. And of course, as we mentioned before, age appropriate. The different campuses, we kind of keep it a little more light up at Fort Roller and Arrowhead Woods, and then we get into some deeper stuff down at Frontier Town, some issues that kids, the heavy things that kids are dealing with today, and we kind of show them what God's Word has to say and give them some tools to deal with these issues in their lives. And that speaks to what's relevant. We want to be relevant, communicate this great timeless message in a relevant way. So Christian and inclusive is number 4. I'm going to bring John Zig back up here again. We're getting close here. Number 3, 100% unplugged. What in the world does that mean? Well, John's going to talk to you a little bit about what unplugged means at RVR.
I can't do the drum roll again because you already told me, okay? So the number 3 reason is 100% unplugged. So if you have a child, and I'm sure you're watching this because you do, that's age camp age, is there a statistic out there that said most kids today, or the average kid, spends 7.5 hours in front of a screen. So if that's the average, there's some kids that are even higher than that. And what screen time looks like, it's this. The average middle schooler watches close to 1,900 minutes of TV a week. Spends 308 minutes on a computer or in front of the computer screen, whether it be work-related or homework or just surfing the internet, watching YouTube. 833 minutes of video games played by the average middle schooler. And I think the last one was several hundred texts, or 800 texts sent a week by a teenager. So that's a lot of time in front of a screen for these. But at RVR, that won't be the case. In fact, they will spend 0 minutes watching TV, surfing the internet, texting on a cell phone, playing video games, on Instagram, Facebook, or any other social media, and listening to music with the headphones. But they will spend over 1,800 minutes creating memories by playing outdoors, engaging in personal challenges, pushing themselves, and building lifelong friendships. Man, what a great investment. And of course, in those over 1,800 plus minutes, they'll also spend over 300 minutes in real meaningful conversation. We have orchestrated our camp, so there's time talking around the table, there's time in small groups processing all this stuff. So meaningful conversations with high quality Christian role models.
All right, we're going to get down here to number 2. Once again, as a reminder, if you have some questions, make sure you click that orange banner at the bottom, go to our YouTube page, and then on the right-hand side is a chat window. You want to make sure that you go there if you'd like to ask questions. Submit them now, and we'll be answering those in just a few minutes. Number 2, our guests love us. Now, we're not bragging here or anything. We just want to communicate what we hear from parents a lot. And one of the ways that we hear from parents is surveys. We do a lot of surveys because we want to know, how are we doing? How can we get better? I want to show you a couple questions from last summer's survey. So we asked parents a bunch of questions, but here's 2 questions that I think really reflect on what parents think of RVR. One of them is, how would you rate your child's experience at RVR? So as you can see from this, 96% rated us excellent or above average as far as the experience that they had at RVR. Another question, through conversations with your child, did you find your child's camp counselor a competent and positive role model for your child? 98% also said yes to that. I know as a parent myself, man, as our kids get older, we want other people to be able to speak truth in their life, and this is just a wonderful opportunity camp presents for that to happen. And finally here, this is something called a Net Promoter Score. Okay, this is something that a lot of big companies use to gauge brand loyalty. How loyal are people to your company? And it's asked in one simple question here. As you can see at the bottom, how likely is it that you would recommend RVR to a friend or colleague? That's the question. So people answer 0 to 10. And if they answer a 9 or 10, that's a positive number. And you subtract 6 or below as a negative number. So anything above 0 is good. Anything below 0 is bad. The average Net Promoter Score for companies like Apple and some of these others is a 30 or a 40. RVR scored last year a 90 on the Net Promoter Score. So we had almost 90 or 92 or 93% of our parents said 9 or 10 as far as recommending RVR to their family and friends. And so we take great pride in that, and are so appreciative to the parents for giving us that feedback. Finally, here are a couple quick things, testimonials. We get so many of these comments from parents, but I want to share a couple of them with you. RVR has thought of everything to make the camp experience fun and safe. Here's another one. My son lights up every time he talks about all the activities he did while attending camp. And you'll hear the same thing. You'll hear nonstop talking on the way home before they crash and fall asleep that night, on Friday night. But finally here, our family doesn't just like RVR, we love RVR. It's like one big happy family. And that's just so encouraging to hear that, because we really want to create an awesome family atmosphere. So that's there. So we're down to number one here. So I'm going to bring Dan back up here for the number one reason why you should choose RVR this summer. And here you go, Dan.
The number one reason, this is why we do what we do, and it's transformed lives. That's why guys like John and John that you're looking at have given their life, have been at RVR for a lifetime, to see campers come through RVR and at the end of a week say, man, my life is changed. This is awesome. What a great week I had. And that's the number one reason, really, to send your camper to RVR. We want to reinforce and support families in what they're doing. And one testimonial that we have heard, or I've told you that's coming, is Jen Marjoram. And she's the one that can attest to that I send my campers to RVR, and man, they come home and they're pumped. It's been an awesome week for them. So Jen Marjoram, she works at RVR, okay? But it wasn't always like that. She sent her campers to RVR before she worked there. I want you to tell everybody a little bit about your experience and your history with RVR.
6 years ago, I was a camper mom first. We brought our children to the ranch for a week of day camp, and at that time I was a working mom. My husband worked, so our children's summers were filled with going from camp to camp, and it just so happened that the ranch was the last in a summer full of camps like that. And we came away just so impressed with the program, all the activities they got. They had been at day camps where they spent the whole day at the pool and that was it, or they spent a whole day at a vacation Bible camp. But when they came to the ranch, they got all of that and rode a zip line and rode a horse and got to do all of these other things.
Yeah.
And there was just so much content packed into their week of day camp that we were blown away. And it just so happened at the same time I happened to be looking for work. And by the end of their first week of camp, I was interviewing for my current job. So that was 6 years ago. And they've come every summer since. They spend their whole summer there.
Well, hey, you heard it here. You can work at RVR if you send your camper to camp this summer. No, that just worked out for Jen. But you hit the nail on the head for me, too, as a parent who sends my campers to RVR. Where else can you go where you get all of that packed into one? So I'm glad you said that. And I know there's a lot of stuff going on at RVR. I know your family loves RVR. But what do you think is your family's favorite part of RVR? Maybe it's something that parents who are listening and watching right now would also look forward to.
I think the thing that means the most to us about our experience there would be how it's impacted the children. My little one started there when she was 5, and now she sees the ranch as her home away from home. I've seen her self-confidence, her courage, her social skills, just her pride in being there flourish over the years. So she really takes pride in being there, and I just see her so comfortable. She packs for camp a week ahead, and it's just like I said, it's home away from home. My teenager still loves coming to camp, but she loves the ranch in a different way. She has such a pride of being there, and has really gotten to know the staff over the years to the point where she has spent the last 2 and is going on her 3rd year volunteering all summer long. She'd rather serve than be served there. She has loved helping the campers as much as being served there, and just watching her grow as a leader, going back to her school and taking on leadership roles. It's just, that's all from the ranch, and I think our kids have been transformed.
That's a good testimony for that number one reason to choose RVR, transformed lives. Thank you, Jen. I appreciate that. And you can stay up here because we're going to bring some chairs up here. This is the time when you get to ask your questions. I know a lot of you have already chatted those questions in. Feel free to continue to do that. We're getting some chairs up here. John, and Jen will be joining us. Before we get to those questions, though, I want to do the giveaway. I'm going to ask a question, and in that chat box, the first person who answers the question right will get the RVR sweatshirt. We'll mail it to you. So here's the question. Are you ready? In what year was RVR founded? And that's an easy question First person to chat it right now will win that. And also, we got some questions here. This is the time of the show when we do some questions. So Mary asked this: how are counselors specifically prepared for the youngest campers at Arrowhead Woods? John Zig, we're going to turn to you on this one. I'll even give you the card if you need to look over it. Mary, here comes your answer. Hopefully you're still with us.
Mary, great question. We do our best to prepare them, but nobody can actually ever be prepared for taking care of a 7 to 9 year old. But one of the things we do is we really try to get them to enter into their world. And we do a whole session on this about what do those younger kids find safe, find comfortable, enjoy talking about. Enter their world in order to establish rapport, connect with them, let them feel like they have an advocate very close by, taking the place of the parent. So just some of the small things we do to prepare for them, or to prepare them for that, is teach them how to kind of do a bedtime routine. These kids, maybe some of them just don't, okay, it's not go to bed, all right, lights out. It's, hey, let's do our bedtime routine. Let's go to the bathroom, grab your toothbrush, washcloth, whatever it is, do that. Come back to the teepee, get your pajamas on, get yourself comfortable, get yourself in bed. I'm going to read you a story. I'm going to say prayers with you. That really helps a lot with some of those anxieties that might come at night. During the activities, it's not about being a coach. It's really about, I guess, being a friend with them to try to guide them then to do the activities. So it's, we do this together. So when they're doing a craft, it's not the teacher or the counselor handing out the craft and saying, here, follow the instructions. It's, hey, let's all sit down. We're going to do this together. And also at the meals, they sit at the tables with the campers, and they make sure they learn how to pass the food. They eat family style around the table, pass the food, take the right amount of portions, try everything, eat healthy. And that way they get to see if a child's not eating, something might be, either they might not just like the food, all right, but they can be an advocate for them with the kitchen and try to get them something they will eat. But if they're just playing their food, it tells us that something might be going on in their head that's making them feel a little uneasy. And then lets the counselor go ahead and ask questions, enter again to their world, and find out what's going on to help support them.
And maybe you could field this question as well, since it has to do with the teepees as well. This question is, are the teepees separated by gender with same gender counselors and bathrooms as well, separate for kids? This is a question from Q. So go ahead and hit that one. That's a quick answer here.
Yeah, I'll try to give a quick answer. The answer is yes, they're separated by gender. So with these young kids, we try to keep it small. It creates a little bit more safety. So I think there's 36 kids total that can go to Arrowhead Woods. About 18 of them boys, 18 of them girls. They have 3 teepees, so there's 6 kids in a teepee with 1 counselor. And so they have that person they identify as the point person for them, as an advocate, a voice, a comfort, get some consistency. So it is separated by gender. So there's 3 boys teepees on one part of the campus, 3 girls teepees on the other side. A counselor is in there with them. And there is a central bathhouse that is very nice. It's air conditioned, safe. It's probably one of the nicer bathrooms on the camp for those younger campers. Yeah. And I would say, if you have any more questions about Arrowhead Woods, it is an important topic. Please ask a few more questions, or call the office, talk to Jen, or invite you to take the virtual tour, or talk to me personally as well.
I'll have one more thing about it. When we're saying teepees, it's not the teepees you're thinking of. Okay, it's actually a paved floor with a rug on it. There are these cool bunks that actually are the shape of a teepee. It's quite large. There's a ceiling fan in it. There's lights in it, electricity in it. So it's kind of like glamping, if you've heard of glamping. It's teepee glamping, so to speak. And
5-star teepee.
5-star teepee. So these are nicer than your average teepee that our Native Americans used.
And it makes it a lot of fun. It is all about fun and the experience with the kids.
All right, John Bissett, can campers call relatives or home in the morning or at night?
Okay, that's a great question. We get questions all across the spectrum on this. Some parents drop the kids off and they're like, we'll see you on Friday. They have no interest really in interacting. They kind of want to go do their own thing. Other parents would like to call their kid every 5 minutes if they could. So we try to find something that's in between those two extremes. The way we do it is we do allow parents to email their campers, and that's the primary way we encourage it. And that's through, when you register, you'll see there's a system in there where you can check in and email your campers throughout the summer, and then we print those out and give them to them during certain times. We also have an opportunity for your child to call home. Now, we don't make them do this, but if you set up an arrangement with them, they have the ability during their free time, which is in the afternoon, where they have a few hours where they can choose a different activity to do, and they can choose to call home, and we have the ability for them to call home and do that. It doesn't start until Tuesday. We don't open it on Monday because we want to get the campers into a rhythm before we reconnect with parents. That's an important part of going to camp, is really getting them some independence. But we do allow you to talk to them on the phone. And of course, if you want to do the old-fashioned snail mail, you're welcome to mail those to your campers as well.
And if I can jump in, is there are some extreme situations where a camper's away for the first time and maybe struggle with homesickness, and having that comforting voice. So we do make allowances if you request it ahead of time for that, especially with the younger kids.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Here's a question, a fun one. Still singing the same RVR song? Now, there have been a couple of RVR songs, but we still sing the one that starts, "Sing the RVR song." And now Jen's going to finish it. Go ahead, Jen. No, I'm just kidding. All right, boom. There goes that question. Great question there. Now, what time do Fort Roller campers wake up? John Zig?
Sometimes too early because they're super excited.
What time is it scheduled
Yes.
for them to wake up? Right.
Breakfast is at 8:30. So we try to get the campers up between 7:30 and 8, depending on what they need. So there is a morning wake up bell that rings. Or actually, Reveille is played over the sound system because they are in a fort. So Reveille is played at 8 o'clock. It gives them 30 minutes to get up, get dressed, get themselves ready to go to breakfast at 8:30. And they line up. There's a little roll call, and they eat breakfast at 8:30, and then they go back and do their cabin cleanup and start their activities. But at the very latest, 8 o'clock, some of them choose to wake up a little bit earlier.
All right. Great. Jennifer, here we go. Well, will Arrowhead Woods, a junior classic, get to try paintball if we send the money? How about Teen Classic?
Teen Classic?
The Teen Classic, Arrowhead
Yes.
Woods
Okay.
is also in there. So what camps do paintball?
So if you sign your child up for one of the classic camps, that does not include paintball as part of their curriculum. If they are a teen classic camper, they will be offered the opportunity to play paintball one time if they would like to. And there is a cost for that. You can prepay for that when you register or go into your account and add that anytime, including on check-in day if you decide at the last minute. For Arrowhead Woods, the kids are too young, according to our safety standards, to do paintball, so that's not an option for Arrowhead Woods. For Junior Classic, for the 9 to 12-year-olds, it is not part of their curriculum. They don't have the opportunity, and the reason for that is primarily safety. The junior paintball kids do get a lot of instruction before they start playing. That's what they do during their day. That's where they spend the majority of their time with their counselors. And so we feel like that is a situation where those kids have been trained enough to go play paintball safely and have a great time. For a junior classic kid to come and try and experience that one time in a short window, all of the time would be taken up with instruction and safety, and then they wouldn't have time to play. So it is not part of the classic curriculum for the younger kids.
All right. Thank you for your question, and thanks for that answer, Jen. Is X Camp still offered, John? Here's a question for you.
Yes, well, I guess 10 years ago, we started X Camp.
It's a skateboarding camp.
Skateboarding
for those
camp,
of you
and built some skate parks and different things. And over the years, X Camp has waned a bit as far as not only the interest, but also in upkeep of the facilities. You can imagine it's a lot of wear and tear, and so we have made a decision this year to actually eliminate X Camp. I know, I'm sorry if some X Campers watching. I apologize. It was his decision. No, I'm kidding. We all decided, I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, that we would move in a different direction. But we are always adding lots of new activities. In fact, we have a brand new activity this summer. I guess we had it last summer a little bit too. But John, you want to mention
That's
one
the
of the
next
newest-
question.
Oh.
Any new exciting
Great
activities
segue,
this
John.
summer?
Once
Great.
again, you stole my... No, just kidding. Just kidding.
What can
All
we
right.
look forward to this summer, John?
Yeah, so any new exciting activities this summer? Yes.
Check. All right,
no,
great.
No. So I don't want to elaborate too much because there is an element of surprise to this.
Right.
But we are eliminating some activities and introducing some brand new ones. In fact, just today we were over transforming a barn into something really cool that will be upstairs, downstairs, and in the stall area. But if you like
give us a hint?
if you like the show American Ninja Warrior, you might like this.
Okay. All right.
If you know how to swing a putter. You might like it as well.
Oh, okay.
And
That's
if you
And-
like the boardwalk in Ocean City, there's a game that's an old-fashioned game on
Yeah.
the boardwalk at Ocean City that you may see there too. A little
So.
teaser.
some good hints.
So yes, we are going to do a good old-fashioned county fair or barn party for the frontier town ages and all that'll be going in. We're going to build an obstacle course for Fort Roller and Arrowhead Woods to participate in. And of course, there's a whole lot of new activities because we try to be fresh and make sure that as you guys are coming back year after year, you get to experience the things that you like about camp, the history of it, but also get to experience something new each and every year. So we're really trying our best to do that.
And one of the really popular activities last year that continues to grow is archery tag. Okay, an archery tag, it's kind of like paintball and dodgeball with kind of a bow and arrow with like a big marshmallow on the end, and it's just it's a lot of fun, and it's something that kids of all different skill levels can play, and so that's another activity that's really been growing and that will continue to expand.
I think we have a link or a video of that if you're interested in what that might look like.
We do. On our YouTube page, there is a video. Just watch it. It says archery tag, and you'll get a sense for what that is.
All right, we've got one more question here. I'm going to turn it to Jen. Jen, the question is from Xander Q. When is the latest I can register for camp? Boom.
That is a great question.
You need a reference?
That's an easy one to answer. As long as there's still room, we'll take registrations. So if you come to camp even in an earlier week and love it so much and you want to come back for another week, if there's still room, you can sign up then. But I wouldn't wait. I would not recommend waiting because many of our programs are already full and have been for a while with a waiting list. So when you go to register, it will give you an indication of some programs that are full. It'll also tell you when they're almost full, and what that means is there are maybe 1 or 2 spots left. And then if it doesn't show that, you're good to go. But the longer you wait, the less likely your first choice will be available.
Awesome. That's a great answer. Great answer. All right, so that kind of wraps up the question and answer. If you have more questions, though, hey, you can always email info@rivervalleyranch.com. Okay, it doesn't have to be in this platform. You can always do that if you have some that come up a little bit later. And it's always more fun to go to camp with a friend, right? So you can tell a friend who is interested in RVR that this video that we did tonight live it's taped and it'll be on YouTube as well. So you can watch it there after the fact if you want to do that. A reminder quickly that if you register by April 1st, kind of goes along with Jen's answer there, you can get $25 off, still part of our early bird special until April 1st, okay? We want to congratulate our winner of the sweatshirt tonight. All right, here it is. Yes, Rosemary Hazel. You won the sweatshirt tonight. Yeah! Woo-hoo! Rosemary! Great. And what you need to do, Rosemary, is email info at rivervalleyranch.com. We'll get your information and get that sweatshirt out to you. Congratulations. And we want to thank everybody who watched tonight. The first ever online open house in the comfort of your house. How good is that? It's been great. Thank you so much for those watching. We hope to see you this summer at RVR. Thanks a lot. Bye now.